Bringing down the high cost of prescription drugs has been a top priority for the Trump administration, but it has not been fast enough for employers and families who are desperate for a solution. A CNBC investigation uncovers popular insurance schemes that offer huge savings on medications, but that could put patients' lives in danger. Here's Melissa Lee with Risky RX.
A question being asked across the country: how can I afford my prescription drugs? Prices are skyrocketing.
It's a broken system, and we need to make sure everyone is paying attention.
With some specialty medications costing tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, and prescription drug prices in the U.S. averaging nearly 3 times more than in other countries, driving people and employers to find a solution.
It's such a desperate thing to think that you might not have your medication at all.
A booming cottage industry is selling itself as an antidote, often getting the drugs overseas for a fraction of the cost.
We do a public service. We help people get access to medications.
But there's a major catch.
What they're doing is illegal, and it's putting American lives at risk.
What I tell my friends and family is that the most expensive medicine that they could get is one that isn't safe, isn't effective, or isn't high quality, and doesn't meet the standards that are in FDA-approved medicines.
Patients and employers are desperate for a solution. The question is, at what cost?
The FDA says it's illegal to import drugs that are available and sold in the United States. All of these drugs are, in fact, available domestically, correct? And this is just a preview of our full-length documentary. To watch the entire story, go to cnbc.com/riskyrx.
How does this work? What's the scheme if you kind of try and dig into it?
So these are employer-sponsored insurance plans. And so you can work for a company, they have an insurance plan. The administrator decides that in order to save the employer money, they're going to carve out the coverage of very expensive specialty medicines. These are medicines for illnesses like cancer, multiple sclerosis. So they carve them out, basically contract a company called an alternative funding program, an AFP. These AFPs say, we will save you money. You just pay us a fee, or we'll get a percentage of the savings that we will get for you, and we will source the medicine from overseas. They mail these medicines direct to the patient. The patient gets the medicine for at little or no cost. The problem is that these medicines that come from overseas, they are not FDA-approved medicines. They are not coming from sites that are managed or overseen by the FDA. So there's no oversight. There's no guarantee of quality, of safety.
Even if it's got the same packaging, and I assume that it's being made by one of the big drug companies like a Pfizer or a Lilly or something, it's got the same packaging. And I assume I'm just getting it cheaper because they sell those drugs cheaper overseas?
You can make that assumption, and packaging can look the same, but these medicines could still be counterfeit. You also don't know how these medicines have been treated. So if they needed to be refrigerated, for instance, and they are not, then they are ineffective. And so effectively, you have a serious illness like cancer or multiple sclerosis, and your medicine is not effective. It may not be real. This has not gone unnoticed by the FDA. We made more than 100 public records requests. We've gone through 1,000 documents. We've gotten emails, invoices. And we know that, for instance, the FDA has sent warning letters to some of these companies saying, stop what you're doing because you may be bringing in counterfeit or mislabeled drugs into the United States and giving them to patients.
AFPs are what? Alternative
funding programs.
Are they all kind of basically just big schemes? If a company is looking at doing business with one, is it stop, don't do it?
To be sure, there are AFPs that do not import drugs. We are talking about the ones that do. And that is the problem. That is where there is sort of this, we can't let patients get their hands on non-FDA approved drugs. But the patients and the employer, they're in a very tough situation. Everybody is facing high costs of prescription drugs. People can't afford these drugs. And so everybody's looking for a solution to this broken system.
Has there ever been sugar pills or something that came? I mean, something not even close to
the formulation.
What you think? Yeah. What do you think? And you know what else it could be? They could be old because they lose. It could be if it's 2 or 3 years old, the efficacy is not.
We just don't know. We do know of a case, for instance, of one AFP that actually sourced medication, an HIV PrEP medication from Turkey. It came direct from a Turkish pharmacy, direct to the patient's doorstep. The packaging was all in Turkish. The instructions were all in Turkish. And this insurance plan, it wasn't a small one. This is Meritain Health. Meritain is an Aetna company. Aetna is owned by CVS.
So if I'm the employee and I don't even know that my employer is cutting these deals with the insurance company, how do I protect myself?
You have to see who covers your specialty medicines. You can go into your handbook, specialty medicine coverage, take a look at who does it, and you'll have to ask them, where do you get your medicines? Be careful, though, too, because a lot of these AFPs promise that we get their medicines from the UK, from Canada, places that are safe, places that we all think have the same standards as the U.S. But in many cases, these drugs are being transshipped, meaning they are coming from a place like Turkey through Canada
Even if they're
and
coming
then to
from
the
Canada,
United States.
You're telling me that it's illegal anyway. So why would they be admitting to me that they are doing something that's already illegal?
Because the legal argument by the AFPs is we are doing this legally through the personal importation policy, which allows people to bring in a 90-day supply of drugs into the United States for personal use. These companies say we're just facilitating the patient's right. You're right. We're helping you get those drugs directly. But the FDA, we've asked specifically about this particular business practice, and they say clearly it is illegal. It is not permitted to bring in FDA-approved drugs that are available commercially here in the United States from overseas.
Melissa, thank you. Again, this documentary, you can see it starting tonight.
Yeah, no, it's online.
It's online.
Online.
CNBC.com/RiskyRx.
Congratulations.